let's talk about Father's Day. It was Father's Day yesterday. Tell me, mine was a little emotional, but I was excited either way. I hope you had a great one. Now, there are so many different celebrities around the globe. Let's take a look at some of those celebrities that thought to celebrate Father's Day in a very different way. For instance, let's take a look at A$AP Rocky. That's him and his Bottega Veneta campaign. This is obviously him with him and Rihanna's kids. It's so beautiful. I mean, look at those kids. They're so adorable. Now, Father's Day celebrations wielding a lot of different emotions. A lot of people happy, a lot of people a little nostalgic, remembering their fathers who possibly had passed or were not present to celebrate with them, while others were just plain angry. We saw the Father's Day celebrations come with a very popular feeling that comes with the day. A lot of women who have experience difficulties in their relationships with their significant others, taking the day to remind the world of just how horrible their baby daddies are. And this led to a whole conversation on social media as to why exactly this happens in the first place. Why does this happen? Why is there a situation where there's Mother's Day and no one says, oh, well, deadbeat moms, no one's talking about you? But no, that never happens. It's always the Father's Day, and it's like, yes, you see, this guy was terrible, and that guy, look at this picture. Just look at this shade to the moon picture. That's so adorable. Anyway, that started this whole conversation on social media, and the tweets were scathing. Let's take a look at some of those reactions to Father's Day. I love this picture, celebrations. Now, this tweet says, single mothers getting ready to make Father's Day about them. Because we get that a lot. This was the tweet that started it all. Single mothers getting ready to make Father's Day about them. Let's take a look at the next reaction to this. Now that Father's Day is over, it's safe to say that some of y'all are some terrible mothers. Your kids will grow older, realize and resent some of you. This was based off of some of the tweets that were going about all through yesterday. They were quite scathing, like I said. Let's take a look at another reaction to this. Happy Father's Day to the dads standing on business. Rest in peace to those who sadly are no longer with us, and all my love to the moms juggling both roles, because there's a number of them if I might just add. Let's take a look at another reaction to this. It is impossible for a mother to turn a child against their father and vice versa, because children have eyes and brains and will grow up to be able to discern for themselves. Now, I believe this tweet is talking about single motherhood and, Father's Day, which was a huge conversation that we saw, like I said, happen yesterday. So the tweet goes on to say, responsible and phenomenal are both qualifying factors or not. One is even a higher bar than the other. And the final reaction to this, there's no two ways around it. So again, this was a whole conversation. We're celebrating just responsible fathers today because you really shouldn't be called a father if you are not responsible. Yeah, you don't expect kids you neglected to wake up one Father's Day and celebrate you, ! Well, joining me to make, by the way, joining me on the show, let's get in on this conversation, transformational therapist, am I correct?
Yes.
You have certifications in hypnotherapy as well. I've never tried that before. You are still discussing our road there. But joining me on the show right now, Adeola Kingsley. James, absolutely delighted to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Now, this is Dotun's reaction. Let's take a look at that again. Dotun is a father, and it's been a very public conversation on social media. His trials to see his daughter. He's talked about how him and his wife are not on good terms. Now, I don't know what happened between the both of them. And they've tried to explain to us. But the point is, he's also made us understand that he's not been able to see his kids for a while. And this is him and not just putting out a very emotional plea. It's almost seemed like a plea on social media to say it's another Father's Day and he cannot celebrate Father's Day with his kids. So we saw a lot of that yesterday. There's so much going on around single motherhood and Father's Day. What's your assessment of this whole situation?
So first of all, I think it's very unfair for the parent with the child, especially if it's the mother, to use the children as bait to antagonize the father.
Yeah.
I'll come to other things, but I think every child has the right to a relationship with their father and mother if they have the opportunity to. I think parents should deal with themselves and sort themselves out and not bring the children into it, because when two elephants are fighting, who is suffering, right? And in this case, it's the children, because we think that children don't have emotions. We think children we are meant to command our children and tell them what to do and how to do it, forgetting that children are little humans. And they have the exact emotions that we have. And a lot of children are struggling. I've had 7-year-olds tell me they want to commit suicide because their parents say certain things to them and all of that. So we need to be a little bit more sensitive to what we're doing to children these days and let them know that they matter, right? And you matter to your father and you matter to your mother. Now, it's different if the father is aggressive and beats the children, because I've had a client who said to me that the father was so angry one day and he threw his child against the wall. Now, if I was a mother, I will take my child away from such, and I will make sure that he goes for therapy and anger management classes and all of that, and there's proof that he's changing before I would allow my child to get back into that situation.
Yeah.
So it's because we don't have the entire picture. It's hard to say, oh, this is what's right and this what's wrong. On the flip side, however, I think women also need to be very, very careful about who they spread their legs to. Right?
I wasn't thinking you were going to go there.
I'm sorry.
I didn't think you were going to go there.
I'm sorry. I just have to be honest, because it's also my responsibility to choose the right person that I want to have. Once you're having unprotected sex, it's going to lead somewhere. Now, this person I'm about to have unprotected sex with, would I be happy if it leads to us having a child?
Well, Adeola, sometimes you don't know. For instance, take a situation.
Why not ask yourself that question first?
How does a 21-year-old who's getting married, because if you think about it, naivety is a thing.
Yes.
There's a lot of families, like I would even say there are some parts of the northern and eastern parts of Nigeria where your life is mapped out.
Yeah.
You go to school, that's secondary school. Once you come out,
you get married.
You might even go to university, but once you're done with university,
you are
going into your husband's house as quick as that. I mean, I'm not a big fan. I don't subscribe to that. I believe in understanding yourself to an extent before you make such a decision. But literally, these decisions are made for you.
But that's different.
How do
Marriage
you know better?
And out of wedlock are two different things.
Okay.
So out of wedlock is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
In marriage, you really, at that point, you're already in there. You might also, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, yes, I knew that he was like this, but I was hoping I could change him. So that's in marriage. So we know that we're about to marry somebody who might be, irresponsible. But because one, we're desperate, two, we're marrying for the wrong reasons and all those things, you then open yourself up to somebody who cannot meet up to that expectation of being a good father. Because you also want to go back to the past of the person. If you've had a rough past and you'd rather be miserable than vulnerable, then there's a problem. Right? And a lot of men find themselves in that place. They'll rather be miserable than come out and tell you that, they're vulnerable. They'll tell, how are you? I'm doing well. Because that's what we've taught them. Suck it up. Suck it in. You're a man. You're this. Build it. Stop crying.
You're a man.
So you're a man. Yeah, be a man. Shut up. And we make the men feel like being weak is a bad thing. And it's not. What's weakness? You're vulnerable or you're in pain and you cry. It's a natural feeling. If God didn't think it was useful, why did he give it to us?
Give us hair glands.
Right? So we've made men now feel like they have to be a particular way. So in marriage, we're talking about in marriage, that's different. Out of marriage, if you know that if you have unprotected sex, I'm going to go back there. It will end up, there's no point saying, oh, I'm pregnant. It didn't fly.
You're taking away the surprise element.
Pregnancy didn't fly on you, my sister. You did something for you to get there. And now you got there. You're not saying, oh. Now, sometimes the men have actually told you, I don't want to have a child with you. Or I'm not ready to be a father. But some women then think I'm going to use it to trap him. Or he will change his mind as it goes along. And then some of those women are the women who are writing some of these messages now and saying, oh, you are useless, you are irresponsible. He told you from the very beginning, you just didn't, you thought you could change him. So If he then wants to be a father to the child, why would you then use the child against him?
But what about the other side of the coin?
Which is
a situation where you are in a relationship,
yes,
either married or out of wedlock.
Yes.
You knowingly get pregnant or mistakenly.
There's no mistake.
There's no mistake. But you did not know, you did not expect it.
Yeah.
You did not know it to happen. But
so when it's happening with...
You are now saying, okay, you know what?
Me.
Now I know that we have carried Bele.
Yes.
So let's move on with this situation.
Yes.
Both cases, both married and unmarried.
Yes.
Now, in the process of that, something happens along the line.
Yeah.
And the couple separate.
Yeah.
So they married with their full mind.
Yes.
They got pregnant with their full mind.
Yes.
They bore the child with their full mind. But in
Yes.
the process, relationships scattered.
Of course.
But now they're children.
Yes.
So now someone is a single parent.
Yes.
In that type of situation, how do you explain a disgruntled single mother who's now putting out tweets like this as well to say, oh, today is not for any years. If you're not paying your child's school fees, today is not for you. You are a deadbeat. How do you
see, to be honest though, hurt people.
Yeah.
But hurt people are hurting, right? In that situation where they've broken up, the question is, has the man said categorically, I'm not ready to look after my children?
Do they ever?
Sometimes they do. They just disappear. But some men actually stick around. I have a client right now who really wants to be with his children, but his wife is pushing him away from them and feeding them with all kinds of lies about him. And I have a couple of those. Right, so if it's happening in that number, then it's obviously also happening in larger numbers.
Yeah.
So there are responsible men who want to look after the children. They've come to terms with the fact that our relationship will not work, but we can co-parent in peace.
Adeola, how do you, because I'm only trying to put myself in this situation. I'm looking at this person.
Yes.
I've spent years loving this person.
Yes.
Sometimes even sacrificed a couple of things. Imagine as I am. I mean, that's not happening to me. By the grace of God.
I hope so.
Oh no, 0. But just imagine the career and bills for myself.
Yeah.
I would not say, oh, I love you, Adeola, you're my man. You know, let's have a kid together.
Yes.
I sacrifice everything. And then you not tell me one day, oh, I'm no more interested. And why won't I post? As in, how do you tell that sort of a woman not to be disgruntled?
So my first question, and you know, once again, because we don't have the full story.
Because it's so painful.
We don't have the full story.
Yeah.
One major thing about givers. What's the job of a giver? Let me ask you.
A job of a giver?
Yes.
That's a good question. To give?
Yeah. Simple.
To give.
What's the job of a taker?
To take.
Why would the giver then be upset that the taker is doing his job very well?
Because when I give, sometimes
You're
I
doing
expect...
your job.
No, but
you have taught, listen, darling.
I have expectations if I give.
We teach people how to treat us. Most people who are people pleasers don't give for free.
Okay.
We don't. And that's why you get bitter when you use words like, I've sacrificed everything for you. He's also sacrificed. But most times, people don't actually ask you. You offer it. It's two different things. If I came to you and said, Kachi, man, I had a terrible night's sleep. My generator packed up and I don't even know what to do. And you then say, oh, how much is it going to be to fix it? Did I ask you actually to fix my generator?
No.
I was just telling you my problem.
My problem.
But you, superhero, Jesus' younger sister, then swings into
action.
Exactly. Then when I now don't come back and say thank you because I don't believe,
can you imagine
you will
that,
not be angry.
She's so rude.
Thank you very much.
She cannot even say thank you.
And that's where the problem is. Most times we don't give for free. But we give for something. And when we give for something, did I sit down with you, first of all, to also tell you what my expectations are from this thing that I'm giving you? No. So I'm about to sacrifice my life for you.
Yeah.
What I want in return is XYZ. Do I do that? Do I have that kind of conversation?
That's a very important
You assume that the other person knows what to do. Correct? Then you assume that you start having all kinds of expectations where you didn't actually sit down and say, this is what I want in return. Imagine if we had this kind of conversation.
I know.
So I'm about to, there was a time my husband wanted me to travel abroad with the kids. I wrestled with it in my spirit, and one day I said to him, I'm not going. And he said, why? I said, because I will resent you guys for putting my life on hold. And I choose not to be the scapegoat for this family. Now I could have gone. I'm a British citizen. I'll be okay, right? I could have done all of that. I could have enjoyed the benefits that, but I just thought to myself, at the end of the day, I saw the end picture. And I'm not sure that I really liked what I saw, because it will mean that everybody else is doing what they're doing. So I would have to put my life on hold. And that's why 20 years after, I will be bitter, or 5 years after, I will be bitter with him if he said to me, now I want to be with someone else.
So you don't think it's weird, for instance, even in children, like, because oftentimes what I find is when children eventually get older, we've seen posts where a child is telling the mother, stop punishing me for sacrificing your life for me.
Yes. That's also a conversation that came from. That's why a lot of women believe they own their children. And so they won't release them when they marry. They're in their faces, they're in their businesses, because now, after all I've done for you, you must do it back to me. But as a mother, did you sit your child to say, this time I'm about to sacrifice for you?
Well, how would you sit down with an 8-year-old?
So there you go. So that then means that there's a backpedaling. For you to sit down and ask yourself, this thing that I'm about to do, is it something I truly want to do, or am I trying to please somebody by doing it? And if the answer is I'm trying to please somebody by doing it, then you need to have a rethink.
But now going back to the fatherhood situation, what if you don't have a choice? Because a single mother who's left with a baby at an age where she should be out there trying to build her life doesn't have a choice.
Yes, so I agree. And in that kind of situation, I really, my heart reaches out to those kind of women.
Yes.
But the first question you also want to still ask is, who was this man when you were sleeping with him? Mm-hmm. Did he show potential of being a good father? Or did he show from the beginning same potential of not being a good father? Because not every man that has a child is a father.
Yeah.
I can pick up sperm from the sperm bank. Yeah. You're not a father. Mm-hmm. You're just a sperm donor. So there's some men who are that. But even at that, I always want to give room for grace.
Yes.
That even those men, where are they coming from? What do they know about being a father or being responsible? Mm-hmm. What do they know?
Yeah.
Right? So if I'm a woman and I know that I'm going to have an affair with you, minus outside marriage, and it ends up being a baby, and the guy clearly states, I don't want to be a father. There are options.
Adoption.
There are options. You can look at different options.
Be realistic with your choices.
Be real and be honest with yourself. Don't think that you can change anybody, because the truth is you can't.
You can't.
Unless people want to change, there's nothing you can do that will make them change their lives.
Yesterday being my parents, as you know, are separated. Yeah. And if there's one thing my mother's always put in my ears, is the fact that I don't forget everything. Mm-hmm. You must have a relationship with your father.
Yes.
So yesterday I called him and I told him, "Oh, Daddy, Happy Father's Day," and he was quite pleased. And I'm like, what, Daddy? Let's talk about life. Let's talk about all the people trusting me right now. But the thing is, it's not that easy for a lot of people. I still felt a little salted yesterday, because I felt like, seeing all them posts, all the mushiness, I was like, imagine what it would have been like growing up and just having your dad at 15 or having your dad at 12 or having your dad at 11, just running back home, "Oh, Daddy, this person is chasing me," all those kind of things. Yes. That was one side to it, but another side was also the forgivingness and letting go part. Because what I found was the major issue we also have is a lot of people don't believe it is possible to let go. Let go of this side of you that is angry and sees all men as bad. So let's talk about that. How do you get yourself on the process to start that forgiveness?
So if you first of all understand that everybody is a product of where they're coming from and the lives that they know, right? I think first of all, that will give you some kind of openness in your heart. And the next thing I always say to people is, forgiveness is not condoning what the person has done, and is not letting the person off the hard space that you have put him or her in, because sometimes it's the mothers. Forgiveness is for your freedom. Unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die.
Yeah.
So when you forgive, you first forgive for you. Otherwise, it's holding free real estate in your hearts and in your mind, when at least it could have been paying you something, right? So I would rather free myself from that. And it's not to say that I need to be best friends with you, but it's to say that I need to first be free. Because the poison and the toxins that get released in your system when you hate somebody, it causes cancer. It causes autoimmune diseases. It causes your lungs to shut down, your liver to shut down. why do you want that for yourself?
Why do you want to just die?
Why do you want that for yourself? So you're not forgiving because you want that person, you want to take the person off the hook. You're forgiving because you first want to be free and healthy. And then you can decide how you want to then interrelate or interact with that person, whether from a distance or close proximity. At that point, you'll be more open to have such conversations. And I don't personally believe that there's any human being who is all wicked.
Yeah.
I don't believe so. I believe that there's a good side to everyone, human being.
Absolutely.
Right? There are confused people, however, but they're not, I don't think anybody is only wicked. Though Hitler, I'm sure 3 people will come out and say he was such a great man to me.
Of course, there are people who would say that. There was somebody who loved him.
There you go. There you go. So maybe the side we know or they've put out there is the mean side, but I think everybody at the baseline has humanity at the bottom line.
Absolutely.
I believe so. And so let's understand that forgiving and letting go is not for the other person, it's for our freedom.
You know, I'd always say this, that having a conversation with you is like putting a mirror up. Like, it's annoying. I'd say that for free. It's very annoying because you're just like quiet. And then Adeola just goes, okay, Kachi, what's... Have you looked within
This
yourself?
way.
I'm expecting you to ginger. Why is the person with me?
It's not going to help
you. You're right. You're right.
help.
But I have to say, it's really, really helped on so many different levels. And I'm sure this conversation has also helped somebody out there.
I hope so.
So thank you, Adeola. Thank you. And thank you as well for being a part of Arise 360 today. To all the fathers out there, wherever you're watching me from, happy Father's Day. And if no one told you, let me be the first. Happy Father's Day. Thank you for joining the show. Catch us every single weekday at 5 p.m. right here on the Arise News channel. Goodbye and thank you for watching.